The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived, without apportionment among the several states, and without regard to any census or enumeration. To many, this is just a fancy way of saying that taxation isn't theft if the government says so. A highly contested amendment, the 16th Amendment drew a stark division between the working class and the government employed. An insidiously designed amendment which requires a majority of citizens and politicians to excise government subsidy over the minority in order to be adhered. The text of the 16th Amendment to the United States Constitution, it's a key part of how our government functions, but it's also a source of controversy. Why, you ask? Well, it's all about the power it gives to Congress. Under this amendment, Congress has the authority to tax all income, no matter where it comes from. That could be your paycheck, your investment returns, or even your lottery winnings, and it doesn't matter how many people live in your state or how the population is distributed. Congress can tax it all, without needing to take a census or divide the tax burden among states. So, in essence, the 16th Amendment allows Congress to tax our incomes, no matter where they come from, without any need for a census or distribution among states. A powerful tool indeed. But why was the 16th Amendment wanted in the first place? To understand its inception, we have to delve into the socioeconomic dynamics of the early 20th century. The United States was witnessing a widening income gap. The rich were getting richer while the working class struggled to make ends meet. The government was in dire need of a stable source of revenue to fund public services and infrastructure. The existing system, where taxes were apportioned among states based on population, wasn't adequately addressing these issues. Enter the 16th Amendment. It was proposed as a solution to these problems. By taxing income at a federal level, the government aimed to redistribute wealth, reducing the gap between the rich and the poor. It was also a way to ensure a steady flow of revenue into the government's coffers. With the power to tax all income, regardless of the source, the government could ensure fiscal stability. In essence, the 16th Amendment was seen as a tool for economic justice and fiscal stability. A means to level the playing field and ensure that everyone, regardless of their income level, contributed their fair share to the running of the country. So while it's a source of controversy, the 16th Amendment was born out of a cry for fairness and financial stability. Sadly, we witnessed the opposite occur. The poor became poorer and the rich became richer. Many economic experts believe that without this government intrusion, the wealth gap would have naturally spread out in a much more balanced rate. For instance, the bottom 1% of wealth-holding population could have moved into the bottom 10% in the same amount of time that we saw the bottom 1% move into the bottom 2%. However, some argue that the 16th Amendment has backfired. Far from leveling the playing field, critics argue that it has simply provided the government with a larger pool of tax dollars. But what's the problem with that, you might ask? Well, the issue lies in how these funds are used. Critics claim that the increased revenue has led to a surge in government spending, with money being funneled into projects and initiatives that don't necessarily align with the public's best interests. This, they say, has resulted in a decrease in individual financial freedom. Instead of using their hard-earned money as they see fit, citizens are forced to contribute to a system that they may not fully agree with. So, while the 16th Amendment was intended to promote economic justice and fiscal stability, some believe it has had the opposite effect, with the government becoming more powerful and the individual less so. This has led to a debate on the true impact of the 16th Amendment, a debate that continues to this day. Now, as you can imagine, this amendment isn't exactly the most popular among Americans. Why, might you ask? Well, let's delve into the heart of the matter. The 16th Amendment, while allegedly necessary for the functioning of our government, has always been a hot potato. You see, the concept of taxation, particularly income tax, has been a bone of contention in many societies, and the United States is no different. Think about it. When you see your hard-earned money being deducted from your paycheck, it can be a bitter pill to swallow. Why do politicians that live in the economic status that I live in feel they can spend my money in a better way? This amendment gave Congress the power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher in Maine or a farmer in Texas, the taxman cometh, and he cometh for all. But why does this idea ruffle so many feathers? For starters, it's the principle of the thing. Most Americans believe they can spend their own money better than the government, which is seldom held accountable for poor decisions. Americans feel that they work hard for their money and that they should be able to keep it. A radical idea. I know. The idea of the government taking a portion of your income, no matter how necessary, is a tough concept to embrace. The impact of this amendment on the average American's income is significant. For some, it's not just about principle, but survival. Every dollar deducted is a dollar less for groceries, bills, or savings. This makes the 16th Amendment a bitter reality for many. However, it's crucial to remember why this amendment was instituted in the first place. The revenues collected from income tax are essential for running our government. Or so we are told. We are often told that our income taxes fund a multitude of programs and services, but when asked to show receipts under the Freedom of Information Act, not a single penny is accounted for from income taxes. So, while the 16th Amendment is crucial for running our government, it's safe to say that most of us aren't exactly fans of seeing that chunk of change deducted from our paychecks, since we are never provided proof of where our money is being spent. But what if we could change that? What if there was a way to overturn the 16th Amendment? It's a thought that has lingered in the minds of many Americans. The idea is not as far-fetched as it might initially seem. The U.S. Constitution is not a static document. It's designed with flexibility in mind, allowing for amendments to be made when necessary. Overturning the 16th Amendment would require a significant political movement and widespread support from both the public and legislators. It's a tall order, but not an impossible one. The process would involve proposing a new amendment, which would then need to be ratified by 3/4 of the states. This is a long and complex process, designed to ensure that any changes to the Constitution reflect the will of the people. The likelihood of such a change is, admittedly, quite slim. It would require a broad consensus among Americans that the government should not have the power to tax income. Given that income tax currently provides a significant portion of federal revenue, perhaps the federal government should provide us with receipts, something the federal government will never do, even though it is required by law. An insidious monster clearly lies behind the income tax. Let's indulge in speculation. If the 16th Amendment were to be overturned, the implications could be profound. It would fundamentally alter the way the federal government is funded, and could potentially lead to a major shift in economic policy. It could also inspire a re-evaluation of the role and size of the federal government in our lives. Perhaps less funding to the federal government would result in less federal interference of commerce. But regardless of the outcome, the very discussion about overturning the 16th Amendment is a testament to the power of the people in shaping our nation's laws, as well as the power of propaganda convincing the people that their money is better spent by politicians. It serves as a reminder that change, though often slow and difficult, is always possible when there's a collective will, and that will could be easily focused on overturning the federal income tax, a tax in which the American people are never provided a receipt as to how our tax is being used. While the path to overturning the 16th Amendment is steep, the conversation around it serves as a reminder of the power of the people in shaping our nation's laws. After all, change starts with a conversation, and conversation quickly turns to action. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share so I can grow a community of people that value and love American history. Until next time, I'm Clump of Cells. Stay informed, and taxation is theft.